Hi, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Round Robin. I am your host, Tracy Preston, along with Christine Mulligan, Nina Mulligan, and of course, my husband, Todd Preston. Hey, everyone.
Hi. Hello.
Hey, everybody.
You know, we do 3 shows a week here on Malice.
We do.
It's a lot. Right, so we've got True Crime on Monday. That's our Malice Monday. A little lighthearted yakety yak yak with my besties on Wednesday, where we talk about everything and anything. It's all up for grabs. And then on Friday, we do fables, fiction, folklore, and frights, hence the name F-Bomb. Not the F-Bomb everybody thinks it means. I had someone say, you know what, on your fucking Friday show, I'm like, oh my God, that's what people think it means. That's not what it means.
That's not what it means.
But anyway, in the end, I guess we have our own like little variety show.
We do.
Yeah, kind of like it's kind of like life. I like it. Little mixed bag.
I know. I want to dance like Chuck at the Gong Show.
Wait a minute. Who's Chuck Barris?
Chuck Barris.
Oh, that's right. He did that weird little jiggy jig. He was just a little thing.
Yeah.
I think I'm taller than he is.
I think you're right.
Yeah, he's just a little thing. Anyway, today's not going to be our normal round robin show.
Why is that? What's happening?
Well, it's because I kind of want to talk about the show we did on Monday.
Okay.
I think this was a big show for us.
It was a big show.
It was a huge show. And I guess I found myself completely emotionally attached to this one.
Yeah.
Every story that we ever do on Malice, I think about it all the time. I write it, I read it, read it again. Then we do it and I edit it, so I listen it a couple more times. But this one was different for me.
Yeah, and I'm just going to explain to all of our listeners. It's because Tracy is one of those really super sappy nurses that gets completely involved with every patient and wears her heart on her sleeve. So this time we interviewed a person that was related and touched by the malice that we were speaking about. So I knew Tracy was going to just dive head first and be super immersed in it. And I kept telling her, okay, well, it's just an interview. Let's just remember, it's just one show. Don't get too crazy. And of course, we recorded way more than you were ever even able to hear on our Malice Monday. And it was still an extra long show. But that's just because my bestie wears her heart on her sleeve and it beats outside of her at all times.
It does. You can see that sucker pulsing right on my sleeve. It's like that Bugs Bunny cartoon where his heart's pounding out of his chest, you know, through his shirt. But, well, you know, I think a lot of it had to do with, you know, I really contemplated doing it because, you know, our show is on Malice and the Mitten, everything that happens here. But, you know, after watching Mike Gatto's, he's done multiple podcasts. So I got to see him and I think I connected with his, I don't know, spirit, soul, whatever, is I think he wears his heart on his sleeve too.
Yeah.
And watching the raw emotion still after all these years, and definitely in our interview, you could hear the emotion. And you know this man has talked about this, I don't know, 18 times.
Right.
Interviews, podcasts, books, in the public eye, they're always bringing it up and he's having to constantly talk about it, but it's still so raw for him. And what really did it for me is that, and his unending dedication. This man's not going to stop.
Yeah.
He's not waning.
What I liked most is how he gets involved with other families that have gone through the same thing. I love the whole community aspect of it. I hate the fact that there's a need for that type of community. Don't get me wrong. But whenever there is a need for a community and the community happens and there are people like him as front runners for those communities, you know, somebody really doing the work that needs to be done to make changes that need to happen or draw attention to things that need attention, you know, or even be one that walked the path to help others find some kind of solid ground, afterwards. The way he gets involved on that level, I really thought was admirable.
Agreed. I mean, he's in marches and whatever other gatherings, and we never talked about it in the story nor in the interview, but I mean, he's totally there for people. And I'm just going to talk about this because, again, we didn't talk about it. It's in his book. I cannot encourage people enough to get this book because there's really so much more. But there was a lady who her son was murdered. He died right in her arms, and it was over something so stupid. Like this kid talked to some other dude's girlfriend. That cost him his life. And she was asking Mike, does the pain ever go away? Or the grief, something like that. And he said, no, it doesn't. It doesn't ever go away. It gets better with time, but it never goes away. And the coolest thing is that he took this woman's number, and the two of them would text whenever she was really feeling at her lowest lows, and he would be there for her. Complete stranger, but they were bound by tragedy. And I just find that extremely gracious. And, the other thing I learned is we weren't his only podcast this year.
No.
Because the day that Round Robin airs is the official anniversary.
Yeah.
12 years on the money, November 12th, right? And so, I mean, I don't even know if I could count how many podcasts he's done, but he was on he did multiple podcasts for this week. But I think our story was the best.
I think so, too.
I haven't listened to the other ones, but, I don't care.
I feel like impartiality.
We told the real story. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I think I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. I wanted people to feel, and I wanted people to connect with who Joseph Gatto was. And I think we did that.
Yeah, and I think this time we looked at it from a more personal perspective, and we talk about malice and murder all the time. And of course, I enjoy bringing, the levity to the conversation on the huge. However, this time to talk about the grief side of it a little bit more was a different perspective for us. So I did enjoy that. And I did say to him on that call, I might not have been as articulate about it, but, like you were just saying about grief, it does. Grief shifts, but it remains unchanged. It's still grief. Mm-hmm. It just shifts in form sometimes, but it remains. It never changes. It never goes away, no matter what kind of grief or why you're going through that grief.
Agreed.
It's a thing, and
right.
I like that we took a different perspective for the last podcast.
I do too, and the interview was fun. But I got to tell you, and I talked to Mike. I mean, he and I exchanged several emails and texts, and I talked to him on the phone previously, but still, I was nervous. I was really nervous when he got on the phone. And I think I even told him I'm a little bit nervous, and he's calming me down. He's like, it's all right. Don't be nervous. But I loved that we did the interview. That was really fun. And I think we did a really, really good job. And I think I'm just going to say he enjoyed it. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
As much as he could. I think it was a good interview because we let him say as much as he needed to say for every question. We didn't interrupt him. We let him get it all out.
Yeah. And you can tell this is a man that has thought about this from every angle. Every angle.
Mm-hmm.
In his brain, he's not left a stone unturned. There's just no answers. But he's gone over this and over this and over this, over and over and over in his brain. How does this happen? Why did it happen? Who did this? And you can hear it. You can hear it in his voice. You can hear it when he speaks. These are cogs that never stop moving. They just keep going and keep going and keep going. It's perpetual. It was interesting to hear what he was going through, because a lot of us don't ever, thankfully, have to ever go through this. But to feel his emotions through his words was so powerful. To see his experience through his eyes and his words was a really cool thing. It was a really cool thing. I think all in all, even if we don't get this solved, it opens up people's minds and eyes and hearts to this situation, which keeps his dad alive.
Yeah. And, you know, I have to say, one of the things that I think shocked me the most is when he talked about the statistician. I was floored, right? So back in the day, like, in fact, I looked it up myself because I'm like, I believe Mike 100%. I know he did the work. He's talked to the right people. But when he said 40 to 50% of murder cases go unsolved every year, blew my mind. And so, like I said, I looked it up. Historically, in the 1960s, clearance rates on or about 90%.
But I do want to say that those statistics back then may have been a little skewed because there were a lot more innocents that were convicted.
Okay, I take that. But also, I think the departments were better funded and they didn't have the technology, so they were beating the street.
True story. I agree with that. I'm with you. I'm floored on that statistic, especially with all the technology that we have. And I cringe. I'm cringing again. I cringed when he said it because I realized that we're recording this and putting it out there, you know? So for the layman like me that doesn't know statistics like that, I was kind of like, ugh, you know, like, that I feel like that's publicizing you can get away with murder. And actually, he did talk about how he had struggled with TV and stuff like that because of shows like How to Get Away with Murder. We just throw it out there, not thinking about all the people that actually deal with these kind of things. And then for us to put that statistic out there that nearly 50% of them will never get solved. I don't know. It's like on from every angle that statistic makes me cringe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want bad people to think that they can get away with it. And I don't want good people to lose hope that justice won't prevail. I don't know. I mean, I get it. It is what it is. And facts are facts. And statistics are statistics. But the human side of me just wants to not hear that statistic anymore.
I know, but I'm going to tell you more. Because it boggles my mind, right? Because, and like I said during the interview, it didn't make sense to me because I'm thinking we have DNA. I mean, if you drop some sweat or some epithelial cells or a piece of hair with the root, right? If they find a piece of hair with a root on it, I mean, you're hung. That's it. So I'm thinking, how is that even possible? But there's more stranger on stranger crime. There's more gun violence, lower witnesses, like meaning they don't want to cooperate, cold case backlogs, and the resources. There's a huge resource imbalance. They don't have the funding to do it. And then the other thing is that with so much technological data, cameras, so on and so forth, it's mega amounts of data that they had to fish through. Piles and piles and piles of it. And then if they get another murder, then you got to jump on that one. And I just, you know, maybe like the nursing shortage, you don't have enough police officers anymore, or they just don't have the funds to keep them working on one case and then have another group of guys working on another case or another group of ladies working on another case. It's bonkers.
It always comes down to money. But I think what's done the justice system, I think the least amount of favor is shows like NCIS and stuff like that. Because in all actuality, no crime will ever be solved in an hour. Ever. Okay? Because all of the technology that they show on that show is like hyper-informed version of what actually exists at most precincts, okay? And to believe that someone's like, hey, Corky, get this to the lab. I need that back stat. And then like 12 minutes later, they're getting the results. That's not how that works.
Right.
It takes months and months. It takes court documents and subpoenas. And to solve a case takes a tremendous amount of work. And if there just isn't enough clues to point them in an obvious direction, then they have to move on, because they can't sit around and, you know, use their resources on a case that's not going to get solved, because they're all about solving cases and they have to go out on TV and show that they're solving cases. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And also it can take, and back to your point, Nina, 12 minutes to get that fingerprint data back or some DNA process at the lab. That actually takes months and months and months, and sometimes even years for them to get to. Like, I think I remember one podcast I was listening to said they got their results back in 6 months and they were floored, you know, and as a family waiting, I mean, I would just be coming out of my skin, because you do want it done, solved now. And I think one of the things that bothers me the most, I'm going to refer back to the Smiley Face Killers, the series that we did on that, where the New York detectives were going around and they were really tearing into it, going into every finite detail, bringing in people in. I mean, they had the money to, clearly. But when they took it back to the police departments, whatever jurisdiction they were in, it's plain in front of their face. You have to reclassify this. This isn't a drowning or whatever. Here's all the evidence that proves it was not that. It clearly is something else. Reclassify it. And they're so indignant or so frustrated that, you know, how dare you point out that we didn't do something right or we missed it. And I almost feel like, you know, with the detectives that were initially assigned in Mike's case, they were that way too. They're like, we'll let you know. If we didn't know about it, you can't possibly know about it. I mean, it's blatant to me. Like, who cares? Who cares? You got an extra person doing the gumshoe work. Here it is. There you go. Now, that's easy for you. Now I've taken out all this legwork. Just go look at that. To me, that drives me insane.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, just to play devil's advocate on that point, the thing is from the detective's perspective, it's much like in the medical profession, right? When the patients are telling us, oh, I looked this up and I looked that up and this is what it might be. When you come from a place of naivete and then you think that, yeah, I don't know, it's a perspective thing and it's a knowledge gap. So sometimes from the detective's perspective, I would imagine families of victims or even the victim themselves that are trying to give ideas to the detectives, although they might actually be correct. And in this case, you know, I agree with you. But I'm saying overall, in general, I think people that are doing their own gumshoe, we do it from a perspective of everything is super simplified, like fingerprints in 20 minutes and lab work in 12 minutes. You know what I mean? We look at it and know of it in a very simplified form.
Mm-hmm.
So for the detectives, they have a more in-depth knowledge of it, just like in the medical field,
right.
When a patient doesn't know what they're talking about, but they believe they fully comprehend what they're saying to you and they are correct. Sometimes we look at them and like, yeah, no, your blood pressure has nothing to do with your shoe size. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, right.
But they looked it up somewhere and it said so, you know?
Yeah. And guess what else?
What else?
I knew you were going to go there.
Well, I just had to make that point, you know? For
I
people
agree.
that are saying that, you know?
I agree.
And even, you know, a lot of respect for our interviewee and the interview that we did. And I do agree with a lot of the things that, you know, happens from what you've told me in the book, from what we talked about during the podcast, from what he enlightened us on. I'm not saying that, you know, he was wrong in any way, shape, or form, but there were things that they didn't really give any credence to.
Mm-hmm.
And although we can Monday morning quarterback till the day is gone, from the perspective of the detectives, I understand that. As a nurse, as someone in an ICU with the family members always telling me what we should be looking at, when I of course, because I'm a professional nurse, I smile and say, well, look into it. I'll let you know. And I come back to them with some kind of rationale that that's not really it, but, but at the same time, in reality, I really am just being like, okay, bye. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, another thing that I didn't bring up in the book is I don't remember how long after the murder occurred, but maybe a couple years, I want to say. They polygraphed him. They polygraphed Mike because they were so frustrated with him. Yeah. And he goes into great detail, but the guy, the polygrapher, was just a total asshole. And because there's like, well, let's start with you then. Maybe we should polygraph you. And he's like, all right, let's do it. And so the guy goes, do you always tell the truth? And he's like, no. What? And he's like, well, and in the book, he's like, I intended to go in there and be 100% transparent. And so he's like, what do you mean you don't always tell the truth? And he's like, well, if my wife puts on an outfit that's not flattering, I'm going to tell her she looks good if she asks me.
Yeah.
So is that always telling the truth? No. He had this polygrapher so twisted. He was so angry with him. And guess what else? They never polygraphed one other single person. They just put him through the ringer.
Yeah, they put him through the ringer because he probably was a very impassioned, I don't even know how. Well, yeah, victim. I mean, he is also a victim in this crime. So, yeah, he was a very impassioned victim, a family member of a murder victim. Of course, he wants to keep on, turning every stone. But at the same time, like Nina said, it all kind of comes down to money and time and resources. And they have 50 murder cases on their desk each. And
they're burnt out.
Mike's father was only one of them. And, it's kind of like us with our patients, right? And
yeah.
I'm using those examples because I go with what I know, right? So if I have, there are occasions in an ICU, you normally have 2 patients because they're very critical care patients and they have very critical needs. There are a lot of things to do with them every hour on the hour and a lot in between. But there were occasions that were short-staffed and we have 3 or 4 patients, which is basically humanly impossible. But we make it work and we've done it and it happens. And when it happens, there is no time for family members. You know what I mean? Like if I have 4 patients in an ICU, I'm sorry, ma'am, I have no time to talk to you. You're going to have to call back during the day shift.
Yeah, gone were the days of scheduled visiting hours. That was beautiful. At least you knew 3 times a day were visiting hours for 1 hour because, our patients were critical. we were hustling. And then came the time where it was like, oh, open visiting hours. I'm like, oh, dear God. That's brutal because, you got to explain to your family what's going on. I was never that nurse who didn't talk to the patient's family or blew them off. I spoke to them very clearly in layman's terms so they understood what the hell was going on. And that takes time and takes time away from your patient.
Yeah.
And some days you don't got it, man. It's just like you got to hustle nonstop.
Yeah. And I just bring that up to, look at all perspectives.
Agreed.
So I can imagine he was a lot to handle for them when they had, God knows how many other cases.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that people don't experience reluctance from detectives because there are many cases, that I've watched that have become documentaries on Netflix, where the people were like hunting the people down and telling the detective and then the detective wasn't listening. And so I really do think that is a real reality. I think that most people believe that that local police departments operate on some kind of FBI level, TV level, when in actuality, these are just like regular people doing regular things on most days, and they're community people, but they're not trained like an FBI agent. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of their training also, I think, sometimes steers them in different directions. Just like, you know, when they say, oh, a woman dies, they look at the husband first, you know, or they look at the boyfriend first. You know, I think they've come up with ways to box themselves in, and then sometimes they don't look at kind of outside of the box ideas that people bring them because they want to stay on the path of, I think, least resistance. But I don't want to say that there aren't those people that experience cops that are just full of themselves and corrupt, because there are those too.
Yeah, but also, like you were saying, to go in that same vein, they're not all hyper uber FBI specialists with a lab at their disposal. And some of them learn on the job. And when they are in a little tiny town,
like the JonBenet case.
Oh, geez.
That was like the first time they'd ever had a murder in that town. There's like, what, 2 cops in that whole town? So, like, you're talking about people that have no clue what they're doing, and they completely fucked that scene.
But they did. You know? They. Well, I don't know about that case. We're gonna leave that example alone. I'm just gonna say.
I'm just saying. I think more police stations are like that than they are like what you see on TV.
Yeah,
I think people have unrealistic expectations of what their local police force can do for them.
I
Does that make sense?
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, and to go with the medical analogy example again, it would be like a med-surg nurse going into an ICU and then knowing what to do. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen.
Doing the best they can.
Yeah, in a small town, that detective that gets a murder case that has never done a murder case or, you know, even known of anyone in their precinct to have handled the murder case, they sometimes will call in the state police. But even the state police, they send you Joe Schmo. They don't send you their top dog. Not everyone can be a Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes it is just the shake of it. You know, you get what you get. You know?
Right. And even in the units, you got shit ICU nurses, and then you have like amazing nurses. So, I mean, it's a mixed bag. We're human. Not everybody.
I think the cool thing about now, though, in these times, is that people really have the capacity to get their story heard. And the great thing about that is, like, you don't have to have a newspaper get interested in you. You just got to have regular people get interested in what you have to say. And then all of a sudden, it's this viral national thing. And then you have news stations reaching out to you, wanting the story, and sometimes we're solving things that way, you know? Exactly. So I'm hopeful for that sort of thing.
I am too, and I have to tell you, there are a lot of cases that get solved from armchair sleuths listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
All you got to do is have passion.
We talked about that on a few of our...
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the one, Walking Through Fire?
Yeah.
That one? That was an armchair sleuth who got down and dirty with it.
Yeah, so who's to say? Maybe Mike will eventually solve this.
I hope so. I mean, I brought it up on the show. I mean, I lost my dad suddenly. You did too. And so we understand what that's like versus, and Mike even brought this up to me when we were talking, like when you have someone who's, you know, if they have cancer or some other chronic disease and, you know, you've got a little time. You don't know how much time, but you've got some time. So if you want to make the most of that time you have left with that person, you have the opportunity. Not saying that it's any easier. I mean, watching someone die is not easy, but you at least have that little bit of a window where if you want to spend more time with them, spend more time. Where there are things you've always wanted to say and you didn't say them. But when it's a sudden thing, it plays a real game in your brain.
Not only that, but per se, somebody's, you know, dying of an illness and their loved ones, their mind has that chance to start dealing with it. Preparing for that. But when you lose somebody suddenly, instantly, and without any answers, that's where that emptiness comes.
But when it is a tragic ending, that's a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's a whole nother level, which is where we, fortunately, have not experienced. And we can only imagine. But anything that has been tragic in our lives, we all have some tragedy that touches us all. You know, this game of life, it's not always easy. So we all have some tragedy, and we can all immediately touch back to that tragedy. So imagine the loss of a parent or a loved one multiplied by a tragedy. It really does have to be, exponential.
Yeah. So I feel honored. I think we did a fantastic job, and I hope that either on our podcast or one of the many other podcasts that he's doing right now this week, I really, really, truly hope and pray that, someone finally gives. So that would just be my ultimate wish.
Yeah. And you never know, maybe something was brought up that ignites a thought, a clue, something that sets the blaze, in somebody's brain. Well, wait a second. Now that I think about it, I remember seeing this, or I remember hearing this, or this makes sense, but now it just gave me another idea that might help this case out too. So, it could be like fanning the flame. Right.
And he's got some new detectives on the case now. And Mike's got a pretty good feeling with these ones. Yeah. Power to him. Power to him. So anyway, I had to, I'm working my way through my emotions on this one, and feeling much better today than yesterday. I was absolutely drained. Absolutely drained. Not to say that none of the other cases we've done are not important, because they are, but this is unsolved. A lot of the ones we do are not. We've done a handful. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it was...
We have done a handful of unsolved, but this one probably hits you a little bit harder because it's more relevant a little bit, because it's sooner. It's, how do I want to say that? Current. This one is more current.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nina.
That's what you married me for.
This one is more current, and you're relating to it because it's a father,
mm-hmm.
as well as we are kind of blown away by the randomness of it all, or seeming
mm-hmm.
randomness of it. Like, it really was a little flooring and jarring. And to top it all off, you delved so deep into the details of all of this. You did so much research on it. And then you, being you, touched base with an actual person with experience to it. And that was all she wrote for you.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
that's what happens to empaths with beating hearts on their sleeves.
Yeah. And the icing on the cake is that he is not your typical politician either.
And that might be resonating with you more because of current circumstances,
mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of touch points there for sure. So anyway, I know I'm going to carry this around with me for a long time. And I really hope and pray that one day I'll get a text from Mike saying we got him, or them. So I'll hope and pray for that. So anyway, I feel like I've gotten that out of my system. I feel better. Does anybody have anything they want to say about that before we get into our recommendations? Or anything else? Wait a minute. Nina. But Nina has something.
I was going to say that I think the whole point of the human experience. Sorry, I've had a little bit of wine.
I love our night recordings because you can drink wine.
Bear with me here. Is to gain the knowledge of empathy. And the only way, because it is both a curse and a blessing, empathy is a curse because it only comes from great tragedy that empathy is born within your spirit, because you cannot empathize with somebody unless you have experienced it. A lot of people get sympathy and empathy mixed up. Sympathy you can have for anything. You feel bad for those circumstances. It doesn't touch you in the same way that empathy should. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the more that we get away from empathy, the more that we use empathy as a way to say that that is weak, or that vulnerability, makes you less than, is a slow death crawl to humanity as a whole. Because empathy is what makes us care about our neighbors. It makes us care beyond ourselves, because our souls crave the connection of those that not only vibrate in a happy way, but also resonate with us in a way that nobody else can. Empathy is humanity.
I love it. You're right.
Tragedy, it sucks, but tragedy is also what brings us together in a strange, magical way. You know what I mean?
Right. And that bringing all those types of people together can move mountains, can make things happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, because that is extremely important. And there is a huge difference between the two. Cheers to your communion with a kick.
Hallelujah.
Penumbrum.
That's what my girls used to say. Hallelujah.
I love it. All right. Well, I think it's time to get down to our round robin recommendations. Who has to go first?
All right. Well, we'll go first.
Okay.
Of course, Nina and I watch all the same crap whenever I do have time to watch crap. But I gotta say, it's not like I was going out of my way to even realize that it was being made or done. But what is it called again? Look, I even forgot the name of it.
All is fair.
All is Fair. Okay, All is Fair is like a new little legal show. And the kicker is that the main character, the big draw, and I think she's actually a producer on it, it's Kim Kardashian. Now, Kim Kardashian has a lot of haters out there, just as much as she has of fans. And the thing is like everybody likes to get down on her because of how she got famous or whatever. But the thing is this woman is a hustler. She's doing everything she can, and she's a billionaire, right? So let's just leave that there for a second. I was actually annoyed, because I am who I am, and sometimes I'm a little bit too much of a feminism, I think.
I think you're skipping the part where I told you it got 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I was getting that.
Oh, I thought you were skipping that.
No,
Hold your horses.
Yeah. The thing is like I started hearing a lot of buzz about everybody dogging it out, and I really wasn't surprised. But then I heard that not only is Kim Kardashian acting in this, which, by the way, I did see her in American Horror Story, yeah. And I thought she did pretty well. I mean, she like a regular actress, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How they all do. Like sometimes lines are delivered good, and sometimes they're delivered like I don't know what, but everybody thinks they can be a good actor or actress until they try it, is all I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I haven't tried it. I don't have interest in it, whatever. So it is what it is. But then about this is I started hearing that it's not just about Kim Kardashian. I mean, Sarah Paulson's in it. Glenn Close is in it. Hello. You don't get any more I am woman, hear me raw. I am a award-winning actress than Glenn Close, right?
Agreed.
Or at least in my generation.
Right.
I mean, Glenn Close
had 8 Emmy nominations. 8.
Right, and she's also has an Oscar, right? Didn't she win an Oscar
I'm
for?
pretty sure it could be an 8 Oscar nominations. I don't know. Whatever those top things are.
Agreed. She's like hands down across the board. Everyone thinks of her as the woman actress, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's in this TV show.
Naomi Watts. Those are also
Yeah,
very big
and
names.
correct. And Niecy Nash and Naomi Watts. They're all big, heavy hitter actressing names. Kim Kardashian, of course, is the only newcomer to the show. And what the show is basically like a legal drama, right? It's a bunch of lawyers. And
they're all women.
Aren't they divorced? Aren't they divorced lawyers?
They're divorce attorneys, correct.
Uh-huh.
And they only represent women. So I started hearing all the buzz about it, and like Nina said, it got 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody's bashing it. Everybody's saying how horrible it is.
Literally the worst television show to ever be made in the history of television, is what they're saying.
That's
Wow.
what they're saying.
Okay.
That, me being the I am feminist, hear me raw type kind of person, I try not to beat people over the head with it, but I feel it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I immediately was like, I gotta check this out for myself, because the fact that this is an all-woman cast and it's about divorce attorneys and they only represent women, just that premise in and of itself, I was like, yeah, I feel like the patriarchy, the bad part of the patriarchy, is coming after this for a reason. So I did. I watched it. I only watched one episode. I think I watched 3 episodes.
It was a 3-episode premiere.
Oh, okay. So see? All right. I thought that was one episode. Whatever. So I watched the first 3 episodes. It was the premiere of it. And I gotta tell you, it was a pretty good show. I feel like it was a pretty good show in line with all of the other type shows
That are in that genre.
Yeah, that are in that genre. Like when you think of all the CSI shoot-offs, you know what I mean? They have like how many offshoots of CSI? They have CSI Miami, they have CSI New Orleans, they have CSI Las Vegas, they have CSI Los Angeles. Yeah, there's a million CSI shows, and apparently they're all doing wonderful. CSI has been one of those TV series that has been on for years and years and years. Let me tell you, I've watched a couple of them over the years, and I've always like, oh God, this is so cheesy. Oh, this is really like corning it up. Like it's kind of cornball-y. There's always a shot where one of the sexy detectives, like all of these detectives that play CSI,
sexy.
They're super sexy. There's always a shirtless, gratuitous pecs shot of him either running or like shooting at an assailant or, driving fast away in his car.
Getting sexy with an informant.
Right. So there's always those scenes. So as I'm watching, what is it called again?
All is Fair.
All is Fair. As in All is Fair in Love and War. I don't know why I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, as I'm watching the episodes of All is Fair, they had some cornball-y shots. But every time I started to be like, oh, well, okay, maybe this is why people are trashing it. Then I would remind myself, you know what? I seen LL Cool J flash his pecs as he was shooting out as an assailant the last time I watched the CSI with LL Cool J in it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, and by the way, LL Cool J became an actor out of nowhere, too. And nobody batted an eye at him. But Kim Kardashian does it, and all of a sudden we got a problem.
It's the worst show in the history of television.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like this is just we hate Kim campaign.
Could be.
And then after watching the show, I got passionate about it, which is why I'm recommending it on my round robin recommendation. I think that society needs to get over their damn selves and watch the show for what it is, and it is a dramedy about women lawyers doing the women thing.
Sex in the City meets...
It's Sex in the City meets LA law.
Attorneys. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot about LA law.
Yeah, it's Sex in the City.
Cheesy. Come on.
Okay. It's Sex in the City meets LA law, and all the bad buzz about it, I'm offended.
Yeah. Totally fabricated.
I recommend people watch it and give it a
I'll
shot.
give it a try because I do not like Kim Kardashian, but I will give it a try.
If you're a feminist and you're hating this show, you better check yourself in the mirror, girlfriend.
Because it is very much in line with all of those other shows.
Yeah.
Now, will I become a avid watcher of it?
Super fan?
Probably not, because I don't like any of those shows.
Yeah.
I like documentaries, or I like movies. I like quick things that are done once and done. I really don't have time in my life to watch something every week as it comes out. I just don't. I don't have that kind of schedule in my life,
I like them.
A lot of people do, though.
Yeah, I like them all out, so you can binge it if you want, or if you don't like it, walk away.
Give it a shot is my recommendation.
Give it a shot. I will give it a shot. I will do it for you and Nina.
Okay.
Okay. All right, hon. Do you got something?
Are we sharing ours?
You can start it.
Okay. We watched and I'm going to highly recommend this. This is
Ditto.
the new 2025 Frankenstein movie by Guillermo del Toro, and it blew me away. Tracy was still traveling, and I saw that it was coming on Netflix, and I got like 3 minutes into the show, and I was like, no, this is way too cool to watch by myself. So I shut it off and waited for her to get back from her trip, and we were not disappointed. I mean, all in all, through and through, great cinematography, great actors.
It had a different twist to it.
It had a different twist. So this particular Frankenstein story, they also show the story through Frankenstein's point of view, the monster's point of view.
Right. So we have Victor.
Yep. So
it's a 2-hour show.
It's a 2-hour show. It's quite a lengthy movie.
It's a long show.
Yep.
The first hour is Victor Frankenstein's side of the story, and then the creature is the second half.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I can't say enough good about this movie. It will definitely be a classic one day.
Agreed. I know our dogs are getting all worked up. They're stomping and farting and snorting. And there's, Oscar Isaac plays Baron Victor Frankenstein.
Yep.
He's been in a scat of movies and television shows and Star Wars episodes. Jacob Elordi plays the creature.
Right.
And Maya Goth plays Lady Elizabeth Harlander and Baroness Claire Frankenstein.
And then you got Charles Dance, who's famous from Game of Thrones, but he's also been in lots of movies too. He plays Baron Victor Frankenstein Sr., so he plays Victor Frankenstein's father, and it gives a lot of keys to how Victor Jr. is the way that he is. And
his father was a surgeon.
His father was a surgeon, and his father was very strict.
Very strict. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a classic. It's dark. It's super good. I mean, Young Frankenstein is always going to be my favy.
Yeah.
That's
I know. And as we're watching the movie, I'm saying quotes from the Young Frankenstein movie. But all in all, I mean, this was a very entertaining movie. There wasn't really any lulls in it either. I mean, it kept your attention the whole time.
The whole time, yeah. There was something I wanted to say. I wanted to say that Guillermo del Toro said that this was a lifelong dream of his to make this movie.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's some new shit in there. It's really good.
He is definitely a monster fanatic. I think I was telling you, in his house, it's like a monster movie museum. I mean, he's got all these life-size creatures and monsters in his house, and artifacts and replicas and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, dude is definitely into the scary movies.
Yeah, it's out on Netflix now, so I definitely say bravo, Guillermo del Toro. And I love that name.
Yeah.
Guillermo.
Yeah.
They're Hispanic.
Yes.
Yeah. You gotta, roll those L's.
Well, the L say yeah.
Guillermo. It's Guillermo.
Yep.
Del Toro. Ole.
Alrighty.
So anyway, that's our show for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We appreciate you as always. And we'll see you back on Friday for F-Bomb. Oh, it's another anniversary type week, by the way.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about
the Edmund Fitzgerald.
The Edmund Fitzgerald. How many years ago was it this
50
week?
50 years.
50 years, the singing of Edmund Fitzgerald in the Great Lakes. In Lake Michigan, I think, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. So tune in.
Lake Superior.
Lake Superior.
Yep.
Yeah. So tune in for that. We've got a great story coming up for you guys on Friday. So have a great week, everyone.
Okay, bye. Toodles.
Adios.
Adios, amigos.